Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals, you guys, on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, you guys, because I want to put the right information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business, in your life. And it's got to come from the individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. You know, it's also, that's kind of ties in why, of the many, many reasons why I probably fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. I got a very special guest for you guys here in a second. He's been on the show before. They got a really exciting product release that just came out, and we're here to talk about insurance. It's always a relative topic, no matter what is going on in the industry and the world. We're here to talk about all that. But before we go any further, as always, you guys, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper, we all need access to trailers. And, you know, especially right now with costs rising and everything else, you should never have to shut your business down if you have a trailer in the shop. And then this is just a great way for you to create some additional revenue for your company, whether you're a broker or a carrier. So what they're working on, you guys, is they have a bunch of trailers out in San Diego, California, going over to multiple locations throughout the U.S. They have some roll-up doors, you guys, going to Wisconsin and New Hampshire. And then they also have some swing doors, 53-foot swing doors going to Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and Concord, North Carolina. And they range between $1,100 and $2,200 per trailer on that. And then they also have a bunch out in Paragould, Arkansas, going up to Mississauga, Ontario, you guys. And those pay $736 US per trailer. So hit him up, vhubapp.com. My man, Zach Lonergan, he's already in the audience. You guys give him a shout, as well as my friend Stacy Steen. Just let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Dennis Everett, my man, he is watching over on YouTube. You guys, Dennis has a reefer. You guys, he's an owner-op. He's landing in the Germantown, Wisconsin area every week, and he likes to run out to Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, and stuff like that, you guys. So hit him up if you have real freight for him, you guys. Me and him talk. We'll text every once in a while. He hit me up the other day, and I've been reaching out to my network. And if you guys have any reefer freight for Dennis, hit him up, you guys. Create that partnership. All right. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend is back on, Mr. Johnny McCord. What is up, sir? How are you?
I'm very well, Chris. How are you? Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. I'm doing really well, man. The last time we talked, it was at the TIA in April. And it seems like you know, that was just like a couple of days ago, I swear.
I know, it's time flies, and there's so much been going on in both our worlds.
Dude, I agree, man. So what's been going on? You guys had a really exciting announcement here come out. It was about a little over a week ago now, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So actually, I'm currently in Lloyd's America, so Lloyd's of London's American home office in New York City, which is very exciting. And we're here to obviously promote our new product release, which is our digitalized stock throughput program called Heron. So what that means is it's a policy that incorporates all your transits and your stock and storage. So anything that is being moved and needs storage, it's an all-encompassing product for those needs.
I like it, man. So what kind of got you guys going in this direction? Because, you know, for those who aren't familiar with your product, you guys were initially, like, what you and I have talked about in the past is, like, it's the additional insurance aspect of things. And then it's really about those companies, when you're kind of getting your feet, you know, you're really getting your feet wet here in the industry, you can go on and buy insurance as needed as a broker, you know, because, and that's one of the big things that I love about LoadSure, right? is you guys are out there doing that, and it helps out a smaller company who's really trying to get their foot in the door that might not have a need for an insurance policy yet that they need to pay for every single month, but they need that to get in the door with a shipper so they can actually bid on their freight and move their freight. So was this just on the roadmap for you guys?
Yeah, obviously, we're here to serve the underserved, and that's a whole value proposition of Loadsure, and using our technology and our digital framework to support the freight community. Obviously, we bring to market what we refer to as holistic freight protection, and that umbrellas, the risk transfer mechanism, so the insurance policies, along with the active risk management, which we talk about, and also being, leading in settling claims. The most important point of insurance policy, the only time it gets to shine, and within that, holistic freight protection umbrella is a growing number of products to support the freight community. And with I think your audience in particular, the Harom product fits nicely for probably those less sophisticated purchasers of insurance, not really knowing what their exposures are. LTL shippers, for example, using the LTL network, they might have incidental storage and longer term storage coverage required, but they're only actually purchasing transit insurance, and then possibly buying a separate policy for their storage elsewhere. This is a all-encompassing product that can cover those requirements, and again, through our digital framework and our digital efficiencies, we can report in real time, only paying for what you use and what you need.
Yeah, I'm, it's funny you bring that up, because I just released a podcast this morning with my friend Drew Singleton Wilder, and we taught, and his more is he does a lot of risk work out there, and it is about understanding what your insurance certificate actually says, because there's a lot, and I talk about this frequently, Johnny, because I don't think people actually understand what insurance actually is, right? And I know we've talked about this, and there's so many different varying degrees of coverages that are out there. And I always use like the reefer insurance example of, is it errors and omissions, or is it just reefer breakdown insurance? And are you covered in the event something happens? And I don't think a lot of people truly understand what any of that is. And like what you brought up with the LTL comment there about, like, is there a storage insurance that comes along with it in the event that the stuff's lost, or you have to find a cross-docking facility and everything else? Like, these are very real scenarios that you find yourself in this industry that you don't necessarily maybe need every single day, but like you need to come up with a solution if this becomes an issue in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. In a transit policy, obviously storage in the ordinary course of transit is covered, but obviously if it's outside the ordinary course of transit, then the storage coverage isn't within that policy. So there's some there's some coverages out there that don't meet the needs of the freight community, because they don't necessarily understand what the coverage is that's been purchased in the first instance. So, one thing that's really important for us is to ensure that we are providing a policy, whether it's transit, stock, MTC, it's clearly explained, it's understood, it's simplified for the market. And, we are using technology to enable insurance products to be incredibly dynamic, to meet everyone's needs, not just a blanket approach to cover most needs.
Yeah, and that's, because like in just reading over, because Hannah sent over a very thorough breakdown of everything. I love Hannah, by the way. She's great. She's great to work with in a lot of this, and just kind of talking about the door-to-door protection, right? That you're, everything, from physical loss and damage, act of God, loading damage, flooding, fire, roof collapse, theft, all of that stuff that kind of goes on. And, again, it's just like, as a broker, and I think a lot of brokers out there, maybe they don't think about a lot of this stuff, Johnny, because it's not like legally required for you to have insurance as a freight broker in the United States of America. You need it if you really want to work with shippers, right? Like at the end of the day. And then on top of that as well, like you see court cases going on all the time where they pull in every party that has to do with that freight transaction, right? And especially if it's, before the fact, after the fact, however that looks, you're going to get drug in there as a business owner. And then, for me, it's just like, how are you going to handle this? Right? Because it's like you work so hard to get in the door, right? You work so hard to get somebody's business. And then you always want to think, and then you get this, Johnny, because you founded your company, man. When things are good, you want to think that it's always going to be good. You're just going to print money nonstop. Everything's going to be great. But like real things happen in business, right? And do you really want to be sitting there and then have to, again, I might be taking this to the extreme, but like your greatest investment, which is your business, is going to potentially be taken away because you didn't look into spending a couple of extra bucks to protect your organization. Because unfortunately, you guys, at the end of the day, attorneys, is like, they don't care, right? Like if they find a way that you should have had something, that they'll do that and they'll bring you in. And if you don't have the capital to pay that, your customer is going to look at you and be like, either you come up with this money to pay for it or you're out. And then you got to look at yourself and say, should I have invested in it at that time? Or how am I going to come up with $80,000, $90,000 to pay this claim to be able to continue to move their freight still?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about peace of mind and, working with your insurance brokers to ensure that you have the right coverage. And that's why we have, developed Loadsure to bring a product to market that is dynamic enough through your chosen insurance broker, and obviously those are the trusted advisors of the freight community. So we built our products to meet their needs and their customers' needs. And just like we're talking about the Huron product here, it's very much we built everything on real-time modeling. So everything is accurate, everything is priced sustainably. We realize the freight industry is in pretty dire states at the moment with margins at rock bottom. So we want to ensure that we're constantly putting the best price out there with the best product at the same time, with the broadest conditions. So all our modeling is all handled in-house. We utilize all the data that we can get our hands on through for the freight industry. And one thing that is really important for us is not just about providing a sustainably priced product, but it's also about mitigating those losses from occurring in the first place. And one of the biggest things with this product in particular is that we're using predictive analytics to ensure that if we believe there's a weather pattern coming in that's going to cause flooding or cause adverse conditions, then we can actually take predictive action to mitigate those losses from occurring. Whether it's if it's on a location, we can ask the assured to bring stock up to a higher floor or raise it above the floor level to mitigate those potential flood losses occurring. And it's those actionable insights and data that is so important for us to continue to serve the freight community, to continue to drive down the cost of insurance, but actually mitigate losses from occurring in the first place.
How many loads out there do you think? I mean, this might be a complete like me just throwing something out there, man, in a random scenario. How many shipments out there do you think are underinsured or not even insured, even though they have quote unquote insurance in place, but it doesn't cover the actual product that's being transported in this moment?
Yeah, so that's the underinsurance piece. So we know it's greater than 60% of global freight is underinsured. We've had statements from some of the biggest insurance companies, markets in the world that have stated it's somewhere between 80 and 90% are inadequately insured. And that's ultimately because insurance hasn't been dynamically available, or the coverage isn't necessarily fully understood. Our Thames product is obviously an all risk first party policy, which sits standalone to any MTC or carrier's liability policy, and responds first, because that's ultimately to bridge those gaps in those underlying carrier liability policies that don't respond as the ultimate cargo owner would expect them to respond, and takes a very long time to claim against a carrier's liability policy. So these policies, our policy, our first party policy, is there to instantly respond without having to respond against any underlying policy, and enabling the assured to get back on with their day-to-day business, put them back into their financial situation as quickly as possible. And that's where we've spoken about being world leading at settling claims, and that's something that we focus on to continue to deliver that promise.
So how are you guys really taking that on? Like I personally, when it comes down to like claims and everything, how, like what's something that you guys are doing that really separates yourself from that? Because insurance claims are it's always going to be part of it, right? Like damage of goods are going to be part of it. It doesn't matter how proactive you are, things happen, right? Like, I mean, damn, man, I've had shipments in transit before where like a rock got kicked up on a passing truck and shattered the windshield of a piece of construction equipment, right? Like you don't plan for that, right? But like these are things that happen, and like getting it resolved as quick as possible is always, it's always a win-win for all parties involved.
Yeah. It's the only time that insurance really shines, and that's why we're creating this holistic freight protection, because it's, of course, we're here to provide that piece of paper that responds in the event of a claim, but at the same time, we want to give those actionable insights to mitigate those claims from occurring in the first place, because nobody actually wants to incur a claim. But when they do incur a claim, we've got to obviously, as an industry, improve the way that we handle and settle claims. And that's something that we have taken a proactive step at and invested very heavily into our claims solution. And it's by no means a finished product, and ultimately probably never will be, because of the complexity of cargo claims and digitalizing that. But the way that we handle them today is obviously through an automated solution, and we've built some very sophisticated technology, OCR technology, supported by fraud detection, and then an automated payment system. So through all that digital flow, then we can settle claims in near real time. The quickest we settle the claim is under 10 seconds. But Chris, you've just highlighted, cargo claims are complex. There's a lot of nuance in claims occurrence and how claims occurred, and that takes time to analyze. But if the information is all at hand, then there's no reason why claims can't be settled exceptionally quickly, and that's what we've built.
So is that how you guys really developed out your algorithm to do this, right? Because data is key in a lot of this stuff, right? Like you need. So do you guys have like, and you don't have to give away any of your guys, secret sauce or anything like that, but is there's got to be some consistencies among every single cargo claim that happens, where you guys are able to take that, compile that data, and come up with a resolution in real time, right?
Yeah, you've obviously got to ingest real time data, and on the claims side, for that algorithm to learn, you've got to ingest claims. Obviously, our business is obviously to provide a sustainable, profitable model that is here to serve the freight community, and therefore we can't just suddenly ingest a whole load of claims information in real time without the balance of a profitable book. So it happens over phases, and obviously machine learning starts to help us as we get deeper and richer in our data, but obviously at that initial building of the technology, there's a lot of trust and faith in the infancy stage of the technology builds, and it becomes more sophisticated as the algorithm learns. But it's a delicate balancing act, because we want to be here to serve. We don't want to obviously, not be around for the future.
No, definitely. But again, I think about this in a like a real time scenario where you're out. It's challenging to find customers in any market, right? But like especially right now in today's day and age, and a lot of people who are listening to this and who are going to listen to this are out there building their book of business up right now, and they're trying to get in the door. I mean, one of the biggest questions I get asked via DM all the time is how do I find shippers? What do I do? How do I stand out in a crowd? And I think like looking at your operation and how do you protect your customers' freight is, again, it's a topic nobody wants to talk about, right? Like nobody wants to sit here and think like anything's going to go wrong. But the reality is things are, and for you to be able to talk about how you protect your customers' freight and how you protect their customers' purchase in transit and everything, I see a lot of value in that, Johnny. I really do. And especially if it's an overseas order and they import components and you're picking stuff up at any of the ports and bringing it in, talking about that overall transaction is very key. And the fact that you can offer that is essentially, like you guys say, in a door-to-door model, like, hey, it's manufactured in Germany, and then it, cross-Atlantic transportation that goes into the ports here in the United States. And then there's domestic over-the-road transportation from the port to their facility in whatever state that they're in. Like that's a massive value add, right? And then it's not you sitting here fronting tens of thousands of dollars throughout the year for insurance that you might need. Like you can go in there on an ad need basis here, but that's just a whole other level of enterprise sales solutions that you can talk about, because again, people need to know like your freight's protected, their freight's protected.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about peace of mind at the end of the day, and that door-to-door coverage, including storage, long-term storage, is a massive value add and peace of mind. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here to try and support, but also provide it in a sustainable and cost-effective manner. Because stock throughput programs have never really been available for the SMEs as efficiently as what we have brought the Huron product market to market to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's like when you're getting started and building stuff up, like you just want to think everything's going to pick up on time and deliver on time, and that's just the way it goes. But the reality is, man, is there's going to be shipments that show up at the receiver and they don't have the space, or there's a change, they need it transferred to another facility of theirs in a different state, and the carrier who you have it on doesn't have the ability to go to that state because they have another load. You're going to have to find a cross-docking facility. You're going to need to make sure that that product is insured while it's at said cross-docking facility and everything else. So it's like there's just so many complexities that can happen. And I want to sit here, and say like, hey guys, you'll never have to deal with that. But shit, man, you're going to deal with this stuff. And because I talk about the fact that, and you've been around this industry for a long time, Johnny, and everybody wants to sit there and say like, oh, hey, I got to rely on a rate per mile, right? Like that's how I get customers. And it's not like, yes, it's a part of it, but it's like, how are you going to handle stuff when shit hits the fan, right? Like that's my big thing, because like that's when your book of business expands. And I could only assume that it's similar on your guys' side with your guys' customers, right? Because when you're there for them in those moments of, hey, this is what we need to do, actually you are covered, you're fine, everything's going to be okay, that just builds up a loyalty circle that it's unrivaled at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about building trust and, building trust in insurance. And, I don't think insurance has done itself massive favors in the past. And, that's why, today's insurance and modern day insurance companies and brokers are obviously rebuilding that trust and building more solutions to meet the needs of the industry. And, it's massive. It's all about that trust and the, paying out in the event of a claim. And, it goes back, I've said it twice already, insurance only shines at that point of a claim, and how it responds is massively important. And the education of how insurance policy should respond is also, really important to understand. So it's about educating the industry as well as providing, cost-effective and efficient insurance products.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, man, where it's like seeing what you guys have out there, and like this literally is one of those tools that just it legitimately levels the playing field, right? Like if you are a small startup or mid-sized broker, now you have essentially the same set of tools that a large enterprise broker offers, right? Like it levels the playing field at that point, right? And for me, it's like this is why people, you need to think ahead, right? Like I know some people are like, how do I find a customer right now? And I get it. I've been there. I'm building my book of business up too, but it's like, you're only thinking of the next step in front of your eyes. There's so many other parts that come along with it. And you can't just like figure things out. You need to think critically in these moments of what are you going to do? And, but again, like this stuff levels it for you. Like where, again, like I taught fundamentally at its core as a freight broker, what you're offering as a one-person startup is literally the exact same services that a CH Robinson offers in that moment, right? We're all fighting for the same customers. We're all fighting for the same carriers and everything else. And now with these other tools that are out there, and especially it's, insurance as a service where, you might not have the X amount of dollars every single month to invest in that policy, but you have tools now where you can go in on a shipment by shipment basis. I mean, you can literally log in there and get a quote. I've logged into your guys' facility platform before and gotten a quote in like 5 seconds on there, right?
Absolutely. We don't have minimum premiums that make insurance costs prohibitive. So, it should be here to nurture and help grow entities and support them through that growth period, and turn them into, sophisticated purchasers of insurance and take them on that journey. So that journey starts somewhere, and we're here to start that journey with them, and grow with them and build more sophisticated products to meet their needs. And emerging risks are always going to arise in the freight industry, and we're going to be here to support those emerging risks as well. So we've got a number of exciting products coming through also in our roadmap to support the freight community further.
So I mean, can you give any teases out there? Come on, just what else? What else potentially could be coming out?
An inland marine product is our next product. So we're very excited about that, but I won't give too much away until
I know.
I'd love to come back on and talk about that in more detail.
Dude, I would love that. I think insurance is always a topic that is never going to go away in relevance. And I think that, as a business owner myself, and I know a lot of people who are out here who listen to this show and, insurance is on their mind, right? And they've had that conversation before where, they're trying to bootstrap stuff, man. They're trying to make their business work. And they've heard, if you don't have insurance, we can't work with you. They've gotten to that finish line with a customer or a prospect. And this is why I have individuals like yourself and others that I talk to on this show is it's like the traditional way of how things have operated in the past in this industry that's not the way it has to be anymore. It's like, I mean, my partners over at Green Screens, for example, like the pricing algorithm that they have now, I mean, I'm literally using them in an RFP that I'm filling out currently, right? And it's giving my ability to quote in a more accurate and timely manner. And it leads to more business, right? And then it's like, so if you're thinking downstream, it's like, okay, perfect. I have more freight commitments now. Now I can look at it from an insurance standpoint. How do I bolster my insurance package that I can talk to my customers and future prospects now about the safety and security of their shipments and how I have insurance coverages to essentially any possible scenario that we have identified in our careers about what might happen to their shipment's covered, right? Things are taken care of in those moments. And that's the way people need to look at things, right? Like you can't just look at it as today. You have to look at the what if factor of what you might encounter in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I was asked a question the other day, how algorithms and AI and ML will will evolve in the insurance industry, and it's already taking place. It's been utilized in a number of areas. We utilize it in a number of our areas within our algorithms. But I think what is important is that as a industry, we've got to be better at sharing data to giving better visibility. There's a lot of fraudulent activity out there, double broking, etc. The risks out there with regards to that, adding additional exposures to the freight industry. And if we are more vigilant and better at sharing data, then we'll be able to make sure that there's more dynamic products to cover those risks.
Very well said, Johnny. How I know, dude, that was a quick 30 minutes. These shows always go by so fast, especially when I have guests on, man. And how does anybody reach out to find out more about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, obviously reach out directly to me on LinkedIn or through our website, which is www.loadsure.net.
Perfect. Well, hey, you guys, that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow, we'll just be breaking down some articles. Hit up Johnny. You guys learn more about this product. You guys, it's literally something that it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're heavily established out there. This is a quality option for you to increase your insurance coverages. But as always, if you guys got value in this, subscribe and share the show. You guys rank the show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, because at the end of the day, if you see value, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon. And yeah,